When you think about a dog's history, you're usually looking back a few hundred years, right? But the Greyhound? Wow. We're talking an 8,000-year marathon, running right alongside human civilization itself. It's just incredible. So let's trace the footsteps of this ancient breed. So, just to give you an idea of how deep this history really goes, let me start with a little trivia for you. You see, ancient texts mention dogs constantly, but only one single breed, is actually called out by name in the King James Bible. Any guesses? Yup, you guessed it, the Greyhound. It's right there in the book of Proverbs, which set it apart even way back then. And honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Its connection to the ancient world goes so much deeper. I mean, we're talking all the way to the gods of Egypt, like Anubis here, who was often shown with the head of a sighthound, a dog that looks a lot like a greyhound. So you see, this is way more than just a pet. It's like a living piece of history. Let's dive right in and go back to the very, very beginning to explore the Greyhound's ancient and, well, truly royal pedigree. What's absolutely staggering is just how consistently Greyhounds pop up next to humanity's greatest empires. It's like they were always there. We find them in 8,000-year-old temple drawings in what's now Turkey. We see them on ancient funerary vases in Iran. And of course, the Egyptians practically revered them. The Greeks wrote them into their epic poems like the Odyssey, and the Romans, well, they adopted them as their own. But in Egypt, man, that's where their status went to a whole other level. I mean, this is going to sound crazy, but the birth of a greyhound was considered second in importance only to the birth of a son. Can you imagine? When a pet greyhound died, the whole family would shave their heads and mourn. They were even mummified and buried with pharaohs. I mean, we're talking everyone from Tutankhamun to Cleopatra. These weren't just dogs. They were treated like absolute royalty. And not royal status? It didn't just disappear after the ancient world. Nope. As we head into the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, the Greyhound's role shifted a bit, but it became this powerful, living symbol of aristocratic status all across Europe. Okay, and this is one of the most remarkable things about the breed. Check this out. On the left, you've got a sketch from the 1400s. On the right, a photo of a modern Greyhound. Just look at that shape, that classic streamlined body, the long head, the deep chest. It's practically identical. It's like they're living works of art, a design perfected thousands and thousands of years ago. And their reputation was totally cemented in the culture. I love this. When Geoffrey Chaucer was writing the Canterbury Tales back in the 14th century, he needed the perfect metaphor for speed. And what did he use? Greyhounds, as swift as fowls in flight. Back then, everyone knew exactly what that meant. Pure, unmatched grace and velocity. And get this status was actually written into the law. In 1016, King Canute made it illegal for a commoner, a regular person, to even own a greyhound. Just think about that for a second. Some laws even said that killing a greyhound was as serious as killing a person. This wasn't just about protecting a good hunting dog, this was about protecting the very symbol of nobility. But times change. The age of grand, noble hunts started to fade, and the greyhound's main purpose began to shift. All of that incredible speed was about to be rechanneled, away from the open field and onto the enclosed track. So, their original sport was something called coursing. And it wasn't just a simple race. You'd have two greyhounds chasing a live hare in a big open field, and judges would award points for things like agility and concentration. It was actually a pretty complex contest of skill, not just a brutal dash to the finish line. So how did we get from that elegant field sport to the modern racing we think of today? Well, it happened in a few key steps. First, coursing got organized, became a regulated sport for the nobility. But then came the real game changer. In 1912, a guy named Owen Patrick Smith invented the mechanical lure, that little rabbit they chase. All of a sudden, you didn't need live prey anymore. And that led directly to the very first circular track in 1926. From there, it just exploded. By the 1930s, greyhound racing was a massive commercial spectator sport, especially in the US. And what makes them so perfectly built for the track? It's that pure explosive speed. A greyhound can hit 45 miles an hour. That's about 72 kilometers per hour. That makes them the second fastest land animal on the entire planet, beaten only by the cheetah. They are truly biological marvels. But this huge shift to commercial racing, it created a really deep divide in the greyhound story. It brings up a central and pretty tough question. Is the modern racing greyhound an elite, celebrated athlete, or is it just a commercial asset? Yeah, this created two totally different ways of looking at it. On one side, you have the proponents who see these dogs as Olympic-level athletes. They're selectively bred for health and speed, and the argument is that their high financial value is actually an incentive for good care. But on the other side, you have critics who argue they're just being exploited for profit, that they can be confined to small crates for up to 20 hours a day and face a real risk of serious injury or even death out on the track. And you can really see that contrast here. It's pretty stark. On the left, you've got this painting of the noble, revered companion from centuries ago. And on the right, the reality for some modern racers, muzzled behind a cage. This visual just perfectly captures the complex and, let's be honest, often controversial journey this breed has been on. Okay, but the story doesn't end there, at the racetrack. A whole new chapter is being written right now, one that kind of brings the greyhound full circle, right back to its ancient role as a companion. And it's earned them a very surprising and pretty great new nickname. And here it is, my favorite part. They're called the 45-mile-per-hour couch potato, and it's just the perfect description for them, isn't it? See, greyhounds are sprinters. They're not marathon runners. After a quick burst of energy, their absolute favorite thing to do is just lounge on a comfy sofa. Now, this new chapter has really been fueled by a huge shift in public opinion and new laws. Just look at this chart. The commercial racing industry in the US has seen a staggering decline. Back in 2001, there were around 50 tracks. Today, there are only 2 left. So what's happening to all these retired athletes? Well, they're getting a new leash on life, literally. Adoption programs have shown the world what incredible companions they are. They're gentle, they're affectionate, and they're remarkably calm. Their quiet nature makes them fantastic for older folks, and they're great apartment dogs. They're super sensitive and form these really strong bonds. It's like after a life on the track, they just want to enjoy the peace and quiet of a loving home. When you step back and look at it, the Greyhound story is just one of incredible endurance. I mean, think about it. They've gone from being worshipped in a pharaoh's tomb, to serving nobles in a castle, to racing on a track, and now to relaxing on a family sofa. It really makes you wonder, what could the next chapter possibly hold for this truly ancient and remarkable breed?